Fans, please turn your attention to the video board for a special tribute.
From Eastern Illinois to North Texas is a long way. It was an unlikely journey that gave us a kid, a number that would become synonymous with America's team. 9. And what followed was a journey that we all got to be a part of. Tony likened football to a meritocracy. You have to earn everything. And every day we watched an undrafted quarterback earn the right to lead the Dallas Cowboys for 11 years.
Romo runs it down at the 25 and kicks it. Picks it up and runs left. At the 20, Romo trying to pull McNabb. Gets away from one man. Left to the 40, to the 50. First down!
Tony played for the ecstasy of winning and competing. No matter the score, with 9 under center, you always knew there was a chance. And 24 times he proved that in the fourth quarter.
In the end zone, it's Jason Witten.
You kidding me? I love you, bro. You too, bro. You're the best.
He had one goal, win. And 80 times, he did just that. You see, football is a team sport. And Tony Romo believed that to his core. Passion, persistence, and the love of a game are all things that he embodied.
Let's be the team we're supposed to be right here. Let's go win the game in this drive.
Tony Romo taught us all what it meant to love a game. The greatest game on earth. And for that, we say, thank you, 9.
AT&T Stadium, please welcome number 9, Tony Romo.
Cowboys said thank you 9 and welcome home to Tony before he was on CBS for the game. First quarter, Sean Lee snuffs out, little screen pass to Kareem Hunt. Cowboys D looking solid early. First and goal now late in the first. Dak Prescott doesn't get much easier than this. Finds Cole Beasley for the touchdown. 7-0 Cowboys. Late in the second now, not much going until this. Dak slips it out, avoids the rush. Touchdown Cowboys. Cowboys up 14-3. Looking good heading into the half, right, Tom?
Easy.
Hey, Tom, let's play Cowboys defense here. Hey,
you got him.
You got him.
Nah, you got him.
No, you get him.
You take him.
No.
He's
no.
right
you,
there, dude.
No,
Just
just
take
get
him.
him. Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
Tyreek Hill takes the Hail Mary, not the Hail Mary, the Hail Mary for the score. Chiefs cut it to 14-10 at half. Right out of the half, Alex Smith leads a drive, finds his man Travis Kelce. Chiefs take the lead 17-14 early in the third. Little sack race. I'm thinking as well. Cowboys don't go away. Zeke barrels through, finds the end zone. No Salvation Army bucket this time. Cowboys up 21-17. Cowboys frankly just dominated the second half after the Chiefs took the lead. Cole Beasley finds the end zone here. Cowboys win it 28-17. The best win of the year for the Cowboys, no doubt. Dak Prescott was solid. 21 of 33. 249 yards, 2 touchdowns. Zeke, workhorse again. Suspension continues to loom. We'll talk about it, Tom. 27 carries, 93 yards, and a touchdown. And hey, Terrence Williams. Hey, how you doing?
He was good.
How you doing?
I take that back. He was not great. He was not good. He was great.
I think you kind of messed up that line a little bit.
I did.
So we want to get your guys' reactions here as we start off the Cowboys report. Who was demand for the Cowboys this week against the Chiefs? Dak Prescott gives us that heart button. Dez Bryant, wow face. I didn't mean to put Dez Bryant on the list. I meant to put Ezekiel Elliot on the list. Whoops. Terrence Williams, laughy face, and like for Cole Beasley. I think it's got to be Dak.
I agree.
But
honorable mention to
honorable mention to Terrence Williams. Cole makes the list with the 2 touchdowns, but Terrence Williams really stepped up big and really was there when Dak needed him.
He was. The rollout play where Dak just kind of goes out to his right, and I think everyone just kind of forgot about Terrence Williams was a huge play. But beyond that,
led to a touchdown.
Every pass he was thrown to, he caught. He didn't drop anything. There were no completions. It was perfect target to catch ratio.
Yeah, it was a big day for Terrence Williams against the Chiefs. And we welcome you guys into the Cowboys Report. I am Brett Scott. Alongside me is Tom Downey at What Going Downey. Follow him on Twitter. We are presented by The Guild. Visit stayguild.com. Use the promo code CHATSPORTS for 15% off your stay. Luxury hospitality located in Austin, Texas. All right, guys, let's move into news and notes. Ezekiel Elliot, the court case is ongoing right now. Tom, the latest.
We're going to wait and see.
All right.
Once again, we're back doing the whole shebang, and I want to remind everyone here that this is not to determine whether or not Ezekiel ever served the 6-game suspension. It's all about whether he gets the injunction to wait for the actual court case itself, the main real thing, to determine whether he gets a 6-game suspension. So this is still the prelude. We're still there.
Tom Downey, legal analyst. Follow him on Twitter at What Going Downey. You'll have the latest as soon as it breaks. We'll be live as soon as it breaks
Once
as well,
we know
Tom.
something.
We're live right now. We don't know anything just yet, but it is a developing story, of course. Ezekiel Elliott's court hearing is ongoing right now. Elliott is in New York for the hearing. He is not at practice today. He is at the hearing.
The expectation is he's going to fly back tonight, which implies to me that Zeke's legal team thinks a decision will be made tonight. But they thought that last time.
But the hearing itself will be completed no matter what.
Yeah, the hearing will be over. That shouldn't take too terribly long. It's a matter of those 3 appellate courts just getting together and saying, okay, does Zeke get the injunction? If he does, then Zeke is going to play this week. He'll probably play the rest of the year.
Yep.
And then we'll do full-on Tom Brady 2.0, where we go to court in New York in the offseason.
And then it just comes down to whether or not one side wants to take it to the Supreme Court, which, let's be honest with ourselves,
Last
folks,
time
I
the NFLPA
feel
did.
like the Supreme Court has greater things on their plate
They
than
most certainly
than
do.
worrying about whether or not an NFL millionaire gets to play a game. But that's maybe beside the point. Anyway, we will be live. Make sure to like this page. Dallas Cowboys by Chat Sports. We will be live as soon as the Elliott decision is made. You will know as soon as that happens whether or not Ezekiel Elliott is playing this week against the Atlanta Falcons. Hey,
and
it's a week-by-week basis.
One more note. Until the court makes it, or the appellate court makes their decision, Zeke is eligible to play.
Yep.
So we're just kind of...
As of now, Ezekiel Elliott is eligible to play against the Atlanta Falcons and eligible to play against any other game this year until a new decision is made, which we should hear about either late today or tomorrow. Should.
And I think he'll get this one. I think he's going to win this one. The Zeke side, and even the NFL side, thought the original judge was going to rule in favor of Zeke. Everyone was stunned when it did. I saw a comment from Mike Paz Francis saying he'll win if no judge related to a lawyer who works for the NFL is there. And that's the case this time.
Yeah. Tom Downey, legal analyst. What Going Downey on Twitter. All right, another news and note here. Speaking of suing and fighting in court and this and that, Jerry may be taking a fight to Roger Goodell here. He has threatened to sue the NFL regarding Roger Goodell's contract negotiations. Tom, again, this strikes me as something that our court system should not be dealing with.
Yeah.
But Jerry obviously upset about how the Ezekiel Elliott case has been handled by Goodell and team at the league office. And then I think he's also upset regarding the way Goodell and team have handled the national anthem protests, et cetera, as it relates to the NFL's PR system.
I think in general, this year, Jerry's been like, all right, like I don't think he was a huge fan of Goodell going into this year. I think he was upset about with the way some of the things have been handled. And now he's reached this point, I think he's like, you know what? I'm done. I am tired of you, Goodell. I don't want you as our commissioner anymore because Jerry is one of the, if not the most powerful owners in the NFL. And I think at that point, he is of the mindset that, look, I want this. I don't want Goodell. I want somebody else in. Because as of late, I think Jerry's just a little bit less power involved. And I don't think he likes that. So I don't know if Jerry's going to win this. My expectation would be no. I think the legal side of it is pretty clear that Goodell, and if the NFL, like the the people in charge of giving him the contract agree to it, the vote was 32-0 that the committee had the power to give Goodell an extension. So that's pretty convincing that, sorry, Jerry, maybe he doesn't get his way this time, even though he almost always does.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. I mean, the NFL there's a lot of infighting happening right now between owners, Goodell, the court system.
It's kind of a mess.
It is a bit of a mess right now.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
And I do want to point this out. I know that Goodell gets all the flack, but he is just the guy in charge, not even in charge of the owners, he's their figurehead.
Yeah.
Like, the owners are the ones making all the decisions here.
It's like on the HBO show Ballers, Boss Man.
There you go, exactly.
Boss Man.
Well,
That's right. That is
Boss Man is Jerry.
That is Jerry.
Let's not kid ourselves.
Exactly. All right, welcome back in here to the Cowboys Report. Thanks for joining us this week. This week's show is sponsored by The Guild, a new concept in hospitality located in Austin, Texas. If you're taking a trip to Austin, Tom, you need to stay with The Guild. Luxury lodging at the best residential buildings in Austin. It's like a luxury Airbnb that comes with a virtual concierge. You'll like this. I'll tell you more about it in just a second. Yeah. Visit stayguild.com and use the promo code CHATSPORTS for 15% off your stay. Tom, how much do you know about Austin?
I know that it's an awesome city from when I went there as a child, but I don't know actually what to do as an adult.
So what would you do to find out what to do there when
Google.
you're there?
Google. I'd probably Google.
Why Google it when you've got a virtual concierge? Just send them a little text. They're going to tell you all about that best bar and restaurant on 6th Street. That's just down the street from where you're staying at The Guild.
I am a lazy person, so that makes sense then.
That's right.
That's a win-win for me.
All right, it's a win-win, and we love win-wins. And you know what was a win-win this week, Tom?
What?
Cowboys.
Yeah.
There were a lot of win-wins because they won, and we love wins here. And you know why? Because a couple of guys were hot. And you know who was hot this week, Tom?
Taco Charles.
We're going to start with Taco.
He got a sack!
Taco was hot this week, folks.
It was his only tackle. He played like 18 snaps all game, but he got the sack. Therefore, he is hot. Plus the celebration of the pantomiming taco celebration. Always love that. He's hot, baby.
Taco's
got
hot.
The sack.
Taco's hot because he's not.
Yeah, exactly. that actually makes perfect sense because, yeah, he finally did something productive, and that's what I needed to see.
So Taco Charlton, the first-round draft pick of the Cowboys this year, has for the most part not been that involved, hasn't played that many snaps throughout the year, but did get that sack against the Chiefs.
In large part because you got guys like David Irving, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Tyrone Crawford. You really don't want to take them off the field right now.
No doubt.
So you're giving Taco Charlton kind of rotational snaps. And at Michigan, especially last year, we saw he was a guy that got better the more he played.
Yeah, Taco at Michigan came on late. And
it's
so
a huge second half of the year.
I think in general, you have to see him continue to develop with the Cowboys. You're seeing that a little bit, but how can he make that leap into a second year and whether or not he becomes that staple on the defensive line? You know who else was hot, Tom? And this one isn't just a courtesy hot.
No.
This was Terrence Williams. He was super hot this week against the Chiefs. He was that guy for Dak Prescott.
Brett, was this his best game ever as a Cowboy?
Yeah.
I
mean, in one of the biggest games of a regular season the Cowboys have had in a couple of years.
He still should maybe got out of bounds there, but because he never goes out of bounds. But if it's not the best, it's easily one of his best games. Like, I was so impressed by Terrence Williams, and every now and then he does this. He has the game that goes, oh yeah, that's why we don't always hate T-Will.
That's why he's the second wide receiver.
And I know it was the Chiefs' defense, and the Chiefs outside of Marcus Peters have no secondary guys, but I was very impressed by what Terrence Williams did. It at least calmed down, I think, the Bryce Butler calls for a little bit, like a week maybe.
Yeah, our own Bryce Butler calls, right?
Yes.
Yeah, big game out of Terrence Williams. So Terrence and Taco, they're hot. Of course, Dak, Zeke, they're hot too. Dez had a pretty good game as well.
The hot or not is reserved for only new entries. Like, we could put Zeke and Dak literally every week on the hot or not, but that's just no fun.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what the Ring of Honor is for.
Let's go to the not side of things, and that's Byron Jones.
Brett, I think this was Byron Jones' worst game ever as a Cowboy.
Yeah.
I thought he was atrocious, and it was
terrible penalty right here.
Set up the Tyreek Hill play.
I mean, the Chiefs might have just kneeled it.
Extra 15 yards there. He also got one after the Tyreek Hill play because he was so frustrated. In general, I think this was a game in which Byron Jones was just a frustrated person, and it showed with his play. Look, that's a tough play to stop.
Look, Travis Kelce is going to beat any safety or corner on that play, but Travis Kelce also just abused Byron Jones in that route.
It was not a fair matchup, and Byron didn't play as well as we've seen him play in the past. And I know that Kelsey is playing his best football this year. I was disappointed by Byron Jones. I remain a fan of Byron Jones, but I think right now he's on the not list, and hint, Brent, he's not going to be in the Ring of Honor. He has fallen out of the top 10.
He has fallen out of our Ring of Honor. We will get to that Ring of Honor here in just a moment. You know who else was not hot? Well, that prevent defense thing. That wasn't good.
Yeah, it was bad.
That was bad.
Yeah, it was rough. We'll get to that video here in just a second.
Yeah, we'll show that video again because we like to torture ourselves here on the Cowboys Report occasionally. The Tyreek Hill Hail Mary.
Hail Mary.
That was a hell of a play, though. Like I really liked the play call from the Chiefs on that.
From the perspective of the Chiefs, it was a great play. That was a hot play. But from the perspective of the Cowboys, could not have been much worse.
Yeah, let's break this one down a little bit. So Alex Smith's going to throw it underneath, and you see the convoy of blockers. He's got Kelsey and the other tight end.
Skandrick messed up bad.
And then you've got Albert Wilson on the outside, and Skandrick just kind of played like this little, like, I don't know, basketball defense.
Also, watch Jeff Heath. Now, this is not a hold, folks. Jeff Heath tries to sell the hold by spinning himself around for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, we could look at this one over and over again and continue to dissect
saw
the mistakes.
The last second of Byron Jones taking his helmet off. Skandrick was out of position. Xavier Woods got blocked pretty well. The rest of the safeties were in bad shape.
Durant was nowhere near making a tackle.
I don't know why there were 3 linebackers on that field for that play. I don't know why you would do that. And they tried to blitz Damian Wilson, and then he ended up getting himself out of position. So,
Tom, who do you really want to blame here?
Everyone. One, I'm not a huge fan of prevent defense. I would have preferred just
but this isn't prevent defense. We may be misusing a term here.
That was definitely prevent defense.
Well, but prevent defense to me is the whole you're up by 7 points and at the end of the game and they're driving and it's 20-yard chunk, 20-yard chunk, 20-yard chunk. This is Hail Mary defense.
Which I think is still properly termed prevent defense.
But anyway, knock the ball down.
The defense that was played was I don't like that because you set yourself up for that. Like just put one man on each receiver and then put everyone else at like near the end of the end zone. Like if you're only gonna have 3 down linemen, go man to man and 3 deep coverage. That's the way to go because that also eliminates the Tyreek Hill play. And you know they're going to run straight and fast at that point, so you can just run back. You can play like 10 yards off, but even then, the defense the Cowboys played set themselves up to let Tyreek Hill do that.
Seeing a lot of
the players also get a lot of blame.
Seeing a lot of sad faces come in. Everybody's saying everyone. Love it. All right, welcome back into the Cowboys Report, folks. We are getting into the mid-season awards here on the Cowboys Report. Cowboys sitting at 5-3 halfway through the season. Yeah. And, of course, once again, developing story, Ezekiel Elliott's court hearing is going on right now. Let's get into it. We're going to start with Cowboys MVP. Who is the Cowboys mid-season most valuable player? Go ahead and let us know what you guys think with your votes. Dak Prescott is the heart. Sean Lee is the wow face. Laughing face for Ezekiel Elliott, and DeMarcus Lawrence, like button.
I will preface this by saying I don't think there's really a wrong answer up here. Like all these players are more than worthy of getting that Cowboys midseason MVP. Without Dak Prescott, you'd go to Cooper Rush, or earlier in the season, Kellen Moore. Yep. So it'd be a disaster. Zeke Elliott, without him, I'm very concerned about the offense in general. DeMarcus Lawrence has probably been the Cowboys' best individual player this season. But I look at a guy like Sean Lee. Do you remember how bad the defense was without Sean Lee, Brett? It was horrendous.
It lost some games.
Yeah, and it did. So I'm curious to see what the votes are here.
So I am seeing a great split between DeMarcus Lawrence and Dak Prescott, actually.
Interesting.
A few wow faces coming in for Sean Lee as well. I love this vote. This is a good one. We're going to get your answer here in just a second. I'm going like button as well with DeMarcus Lawrence.
Okay.
Because without a pass rush, the Cowboys defense in general would just be completely in shambles this year because that secondary has been so young, so injured, so not good. Mm-hmm. And so we've completely flipped the script from 2016 when the secondary was so good, stepping up for a lack of a pass rush. Sean Lee's definitely always the staple, if you will. But I think without DeMarcus Lawrence and what he's done,
I want to point out that I am seeing more Sean Lee votes coming, which makes
Sean
me
Lee
feel
votes
better.
are coming in, and we will get in Tom's MVP winner of Sean Lee. Tom, take it away.
Here's why. We know that Sean Lee is an essential part of this defense. I think the stats bear that out this year in particular. When Sean Lee doesn't play, the Cowboys have allowed 35 points per game. When Sean Lee does play, the Cowboys are allowing 18 points per game. That is the difference between winning every game and losing every game.
Yep.
And that's what we've seen with Sean Lee versus without Sean Lee. Sean Lee's my MVP. No disrespect to Dak or anyone else on that list, but Sean Lee is the most valuable part of this Cowboys team. Without him, they will win 4 games a year, 5 games a year. That's it.
I'm going to argue with you when we get a little bit, get to another category here in just a little bit. But it's hard to argue against Sean Lee in any way, shape, or form. He means so much to that defense.
And I'll preface this by saying the other guys on that list will be mentioned later on in the show. Hint, hint.
I've seen a lot of comments coming in as well. Get those comments in. We appreciate it. We will get those up on screen and talk about them here in just a little bit. Let's go to mid-season offensive player of the year. Dez, Zeke, Dak, or that offensive line. Tom, I don't think it's Dez.
It's not Dez.
I don't think it's the offensive line
Not
either.
the O-line. There are two right options.
So let's argue between Dak and Zeke.
I think that, again, either one is correct because they are both equally essential parts of this offense. But I think Elliott has outplayed Dak this year. And that's not to say that Dak hasn't done great because he's been an incredible player. He's taken a step forward this year. But how many times have we mentioned, Brett, that Elliott has had to earn his yards for behind an offensive line that wasn't as good this year?
Yep. I mean, it definitely makes the case for Ezekiel Elliott, considering the offensive line has struggled a little bit more.
I'm very curious how these votes are being split up here.
It seems to be about 50-50 as I look at
fair.
it coming across the screen. Maybe a few more for Dak as we go.
Can I say
I would argue for Dak because the sophomore slump has not materialized.
Very true.
And he has been a high-quality top quarterback in the league in his sophomore year. Tom, through 24 games, Dak Prescott is possibly the best quarterback in the history of the NFL. Highest quarterback rating, best touchdown to interceptions ratio. That's saying a lot.
He's good.
He's very good.
He is not a product of the Cowboys system, folks, and don't let anyone try and tell you otherwise.
Yep.
He is not. I believe that Dak is a little bit more important to the Cowboys' success, Brett, but I think Elliott is the better player. And that's not a shot at Dak. That's just how highly I view Zeke.
Yeah, I think Zeke is to the offense what Sean Lee is to the defense. That 6-game suspension continues to loom. You see the developing story bar on the top. His court hearing is going on right now. Without Zeke, we'll see what happens if that is to be the case this year. But we'll get to your offensive player of the year. So far,
Zeke.
It's Zeke.
He's done a better job in the passing game this year. He remains a very, very good pass blocker, an underrated part of his game. And he has had to earn those yards. It wasn't a great start for the season, but I have been wildly impressed by Ezekiel Elliott. There are some who have said maybe he's not as fast this year. I think Zeke is playing at the peak of his game right now. There's not much I'd change about Zeke's game in terms of an overall ability. Maybe get better in terms of pass catching. Zeke is pretty close to being perfect right now.
The guy has taken a beating. The Cowboys have really used him a lot this year. Really only had the one bad game against the Broncos, and maybe he needed that. That was a blowout game anyway.
Needed to get his
maybe he
focus.
just needed a little kick in the pants, and he's turned it on since.
Every Cowboys player in that game played poorly. Even Sean Lee was bad. He missed tackles. Which Sean Lee
that
never
was an
does.
ugly game, and now the Broncos look pretty ugly themselves. All right, let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. Who is the defensive player of the year so far? Hearts for Sean Lee, wow faces for D-Law, Tank Lawrence, haha for David Irving, who's only played 3 games.
Yeah. He's been
4
good,
games?
though.
4 games.
4 games now.
4 games now. And then the like button for someone else. The reason someone else is there is because Tom and I could not come up with a 4th nominee for Defensive Player of the Year.
Maybe you could do a Tyrone Crawford, but obviously he's behind DeMarcus Lawrence and David Irving, and there's not a secondary member worthy.
I was maybe going to say Byron Jones.
And then he was awful.
Then he was really bad.
That's what I was going to do too. So, of course, Sean Lee has already won MVP. But how about that 1-2 punch, Brett, of DeMarcus Lawrence and David Irving? I mean, my goodness.
I think for this awards case, you have to throw out Irving. 4-game suspension really put his team in a bind. Imagine if he'd have been there for those 4 games.
2 guys with 10-plus sacks already.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
So we're arguing between Sean Lee and DeMarcus Lawrence again. I don't know how you can give Sean Lee MVP and not give him Defensive Player of the Year, but that's what you're going to do here, Tom,
It's the same argument as Dak versus Zeke that we just had. The Player of the Year is different from most valuable.
All right.
Sean Lee is more valuable. He also missed 2 games, and DeMarcus Lawrence has 10.5 sacks. DeMarcus Lawrence is your Defensive Player of the Year.
No doubt. I mean,
he's in the mix for actual NFL Defensive Player of the Year alongside Calais Campbell.
He is. Just continues to have a great year week in and week out. And him and David Irving on that defensive line has just been a lethal duo.
Yeah. It's been one of the better 1-2 punches in all of the NFL.
All right, so Tom's given Defensive Mid-Season Player of the Year award to DeMarcus Lawrence.
And if you guys think I'm wrong, just yell at me in the comment section. We can have that debate.
I think most people have agreed so far.
We'll see.
With the picks.
We're about to get a little bit different.
Let's go to Cowboys Comeback Player of the Year. Jalen Smith, Lyle Collins, DeMarcus Lawrence again, or someone else. I think again someone else. I don't know who you'd give it to.
Chaz Green missed time last year. Like I was looking at the injuries.
But he didn't even.
Yeah, he didn't count.
Which we're going to talk about in the injury report. Might see Chaz Green at left tackle this week.
DeMarcus Lawrence, I think, has a very strong argument for comeback player of the year because he was not good last year. He was downright bad. Now he's become one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. DeMarcus Lawrence has also been on like every possible list he could be on so far. La'el Collins missed a lot of time as well.
I see a comment from Dan saying Zeke's attorney.
I like that one.
Offensive Player of the Year, maybe?
MVP?
Yikes.
It's a good one. I like that.
Yikes. So I'm going to argue with you here before we get to your pick.
I had to push hard for this one.
Whether or not Jalen Smith is actually eligible.
He's absolutely
to be
eligible.
Honest. You have to be here, and you can't see me, but I'm doing here in quotes, in quotey fingers.
He was at the Star. He was on the inactive roster.
You could be back.
He counts. He totally counts.
You can't be back before you were here.
He was here. He just wasn't doing anything. He totally counts. 100% counts.
So I'm seeing laughy faces coming in for DeMarcus Lawrence.
All right.
As the votes. I'm seeing a couple of comments coming in, though, in favor of Jalen Smith. So, Tom, take it away. Jalen Smith, Tom's Comeback Player of the Year.
Look, this was a player who we didn't know if he was going to play at all this year.
Yep.
Like, there was a real chance, folks, that when the Cowboys took Jalen Smith, it was a wasted pick because he would never play. Because his knee injury was that severe. And frankly, you go back 15, 20 years, that is a career-ending knee injury.
Yep.
Like they're just the medical science has come far enough that they're able to help him out there. Now, has Jalen Smith been great? Has he been Notre Dame Jalen Smith yet? No, he hasn't been.
I feel like he's improved, though.
Fewer snaps has been good for him right now. He's still getting there. He is not going to be at his next best level until next year. That's when I think you'll see Jalen Smith take a big step forward. But having him be able to play and having him sub in when Anthony Hitchens was hurt, as opposed to going to Damian Wilson or Kyle Wilbur, a huge boost for Dallas, even though Smith wasn't that great on the field. But he is my Comeback Player of the Year. He counts, Brett. He counts.
All right, there it is. Let's go to a couple of more here. Biggest surprise for the Cowboys will go Hart for the pass rush. Jordan Lewis is a wow face. Jonathan Cooper is the laughing face. And DeMarcus Lawrence
he counts for everything.
is the like. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence is just having that type of year where he's up for every single award we could have.
So we'll start with Jonathan Cooper. He's taken over for Chaz Green as the team's starting left guard, and he's been pretty good. I think he's been better than Green. He is not UNC Cooper because that knee is not the same.
Well, I do feel, too, that the offensive line has started to gel a little bit more with Cooper getting in there as the more permanent staple of at left guard.
How about the play from Jordan Lewis? He's kind of cooled off a little bit, but I think he's still been one of the better corners from this Cowboys team.
Well, I don't know if that's saying that much.
It's not. That's
so I think Jordan Lewis is a little bit of a nice participation trophy type of nominee
so
here.
is Jonathan Cooper, I think.
I think no matter what, So having pass rush and DeMarcus Lawrence on here is a little bit of cheating. I think you have to go heart button. I'm pushing the heart button left and right here.
I'm glad you agree with me.
Because the pass rush in general has made that Cowboys defense much, much better than it could have been this season.
I mean, it's been so incredible to watch this pass rush with DeMarcus Lawrence with 10.5. David Irving's got 6 in 4 games. Tyrone Crawford's got 4. The front 4 for Dallas, when you get Malik Collins in that group as well, it's not good against the run, but it's a heck of a front to face in the passing game.
All right, one more here on the midseason awards. Biggest disappointment for the Cowboys gives that angry face for the Ezekiel Elliott suspension. Tom, you get to explain Jeff Heath still starting.
He should be starting.
Ha-ha face for Taco Charlton and the sad face for injuries. I'm going sad face. The injuries on defense has been extremely disappointing with the young secondary. The Elliott suspension, we knew that was going to be there.
That's just kind of more frustrating than disappointing.
Yeah.
I don't like Jeff Heath starting.
Yeah.
I thought
Tom hates the Jeff Heath trade.
He should be a fine number 3 safety, but Xavier Woods needs to be playing over him. Xavier Woods makes more plays, and he gets burned a little bit occasionally, but so does Jeff Heath. Like, Jeff Heath had the great interception, right? Great play. Love to see it. Xavier Woods had a great run stop when Jeff Heath was out, and I think the pick that Jeff Heath should have caught, the one that Tyreek Hill managed to pull away late in the second half, Xavier Woods makes that play because he has better anticipation skills.
Tom did not say ball skills, so don't drink
ball skills
just yet. But I think the Jeff Heath thing is a result of the injuries thing.
Yes.
So sad face. I'm saying it right now. Sad face wins.
It is. Injuries absolutely wins.
All right,
I totally agree with
those are our midseason awards. I am Brett Scott. This is Tom Downey. We're getting into our next segment here. It is the Ring of Honor. Today's episode is sponsored by The Guild. Visit stayguild.com. Use the promo code CHATSPORTS for 15% off your next stay in Austin, Texas. Let's start. Ring of Honor, number 10, the best Cowboys of the 2017 season. Tyrone Crawford makes an appearance on the list.
Yeah, he has been the 11th guy for about a month now for me. Just been hanging outside. We had to drop Byron Jones because he was bad this week. He was not worthy of being on the top 10 anymore. I think Tyrone Crawford is often undervalued by Cowboys fans. He is not a defensive end. He is a 3 technique, and he's playing defensive end because he can hold the anchor in the run game. And frankly, he's been the team's best run stopper once Stephen Paea was hurt. I have been very impressed by Tyrone Crawford. His contract's too much right now. I think he's been a top 10 guy right now, especially with Tyron Smith banged up and Cole Beasley also just outside this mix here. He's probably 11 right now for me.
You started talking Tyron Smith and Cole Beasley. I'm like, what are you talking about, Tom?
Honorable mentions.
Tom, those are our honorable mentions for the Ring of Honor this week. Let's move to number 9, and that's Dez Bryant. Dez still having trouble moving up on the list, but Dez has played pretty well the last few weeks.
I think he's been pretty effective. I also want to give a shout out to the guys above him have been great.
Yep.
And it's been tough for me to say, well, Dez has been a little inconsistent. Now he's banged up with an ankle and knee injuries. I do have some concerns about Dez for this week. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit. But he was surprisingly effective against Marcus Peters. He actually did manage to beat him a few times. I think that was a big deal for Dez. And I want to point this out. The way teams scheme for Dez, like they don't worry about Witten, they don't worry about T. Will, they don't worry about Cole. Sometimes they worry about Cole Beasley. But they are most concerned about stopping Dez Bryant in the passing game.
Tom, I might have flipped 8 and 9 this week, but we'll go to number 8, and that is the Hall of Famer himself, Jason Witten, coming off a non-existent performance against the Chiefs.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of waiting for Dez to set the mark for most passing catches in Cowboys history. He's tied. He'll set it at some point soon. So once he does that, he'll jump over Jason. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah,
it's much closer now though than it was at the beginning of the year. Jason's kind of cooled off. Dez has gotten a little bit hotter.
Well, I feel like Cole Beasley has gotten into the mix more as well. Cole's gotten, the beneficiary of a couple of red zone touches that have gotten him a couple of touchdowns.
They're so concerned about Dez, they leave the middle of the field open for Cole or the edge.
Hey, and they're not throwing those low percentage fade patterns.
They're not. They've almost abandoned that.
All right, let's keep moving on our 2017 Ring of Honor. Number 7 is Travis Frederick.
He's been great, and I think he's been up in his game a little bit, and I think you can tell the offensive line has been better, and as a result, Frederick as the center has been better as well. The center play, there's a very strong correlation between center play and how the entire offensive line fares. When the center's playing well, the O-line usually tends to do pretty well. And I think earlier this year, Frederick and Tyron Smith at left tackle were a little concerned about the left guard and trying to do a little bit too much there rather than focusing on their own guys.
We'll stick in the offensive line as we go to number 6, and that's Zach Martin.
Look, Zach Martin has been reliable as it comes, and there's a reason, Brett, the Cowboys like to run off the right side of the line. Yep. They want to run behind Zach Martin. And it works.
And it works. All right, as we move along here in our 2017 Ring of Honor, the top Cowboys of the year, number 5 is our quarterback, Dak Prescott. No sophomore slump this year. He has just been flat out good, Tom.
I think it's a very promising sign that Dak's at 5 when you can make an argument that on most teams he'd be top 3, if not higher. Like, Dak has been fantastic this year. Don't let anyone try to tell you, folks, that Dak Prescott is a product of the Cowboys' offensive line or the players around him. Dak makes a lot of plays.
Cowboys, I just continue to come back to it and think about the Cowboys got very lucky with this pick.
So lucky.
Congratulations to Dak Prescott for making the Cowboys lucky.
Look, let's be real here. If the Cowboys hadn't taken Dak, if they'd taken a Connor Cook, or if they ended up with Paxton Lynch, like they wanted to go up and get him,
that's the one I think about. Paxton Lynch, who cannot get on the field for the Denver Broncos as a first-round draft pick.
We would be having a discussion, and instead of hot or not, we'd be looking at it in a second. Like, how did the quarterbacks do this year in college football? Who are the Cowboys targeting? That would be our segments instead of this. It'd be a very different show, folks.
That's very true. All right, let's move along. Number 4 on our Cowboys Ring of Honor for 2017 is David Irving. He's only played 4 games, Tom.
And he's still producing at a rate higher than most players.
Dude is on
he
fire.
Had another sack this week.
Yep.
Look, David Irving, I was concerned. I'm like, what kind of shape is he in? He was a little inconsistent last year.
Hey.
We've seen Packers David Irving every week. And
apparently the boxing thing while he was suspended was
a real thing. Yeah.
Good idea.
Go figure, man. I love it.
That defensive line has really stepped up for the Cowboys this year. Let's move to number 3 on our list, and that is Zeke. Hey, as long as he's not serving the suspension, give him the ball, feed that man.
Hey, I want to point out one thing there. They ran the speed option.
I love that play.
The Cowboys brought that in. I don't think we've seen that before.
That was a great play.
I really like to have that in the rotation, and with the speed option, you can add some more stuff too. Like, you can do a few things based off of that, and it helps things with Zeke because it gets him in space. And Zeke in space is deadly.
Well, it's something that Dak Prescott is really good at too. The speed option and the read option.
He always makes the right decision.
Very good at it. He ran it in college.
They don't run it too much where it's easy to guess it, but they run it at always the right time. That and the quarterback draw, which works every time they run it.
I mean, Cowboys should just go for 2 every time with the
There
quarterback draw.
we go.
Just go for 2 every time.
I convinced you all of a sudden. Okay.
Well, I don't know if you had to convince me necessarily.
I think I had to present a compelling case, as opposed to like you being yes, I agree.
Tom Downey, legal analyst. Follow him on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. Speaking of legal analysts, developing story, of course, is that Ezekiel Elliot court hearing. It is going on right now in New York. Tom, anything on the phone just yet?
Not that I've seen, no.
All right, number 2 on this year's Ring of Honor, Sean Lee.
Hey, Sean Lee, I think, still has an argument to being number 1 because he's so impactful for the Cowboys. He's just so important.
Isn't Ring of Honor kind of like the MVP, Tom? So shouldn't
Ring of Honor is Player of the Year. That's why DeMarcus Lawrence is number 1. Hint, hint, as I spoil it for you guys. But Sean Lee remains number 2. I don't think there's a more important player, but he hasn't been the best player as good as he's been.
And let's go to number 1. Get those highlights rolling there, Lena. DeMarcus Lawrence.
I think that it's kind of almost too obvious, right? Like, DeMarcus Lawrence has been borderline unblockable. He didn't have a sack this week against the Chiefs. First time all year he hasn't had a sack, which is kind of astonishing in and of itself. But he hurried him 4 times. Like, even when he's not getting the sack, he's getting to the quarterback and he's causing pressure, and that's almost as important as getting the actual sack. Just getting to the pressure and making an impact there is huge, and that's been DeMarcus Lawrence all year. I've been so impressed by Tank this year. He's gonna get paid, Brett. He's in a contract year.
I don't think it's going to be by the Cowboys.
I am worried that you're right. I'm very worried that you are right.
All right, that is our Ring of Honor, the top Cowboys for 2017. Let's roll them back through real quick. Number 10, Tyron Crawford. Number 9, Dez Bryant. Number 8, the Hall of Famer himself, Jason Witten. He will be there, folks. Number 7 is Travis Frederick, the center. Number 6, we stick on the offensive line with Zach Martin. Number 5, QB man himself, Dak Prescott. No sophomore slump there. Number 4, he's only played 4 games, though, Tom. David Irving. Imagine if he'd played 8.
I'll pretend that wasn't intentional.
Yeah, exactly. Number 3, Zeke. 6-game suspension, still outstanding, potentially developing story. You see the bar on the top of the screen. Number 2, Sean Lee. And then number 1, leading the Ring of Honor, is Tank Lawrence. second in the NFL in sacks.
He's been great.
He's been great.
Love it.
All right, let's get into it. It says Chiefs on the rundown. Tom is going to fix that graphic while we're talking. You know what we're going to talk about, though, Tom? We're going to talk about the Guild. Yeah, no, we're going to talk about the Guild because that's much better than talking about mistakes. Yeah. The Guild, new concept in hospitality, located in Austin, Texas. If you're taking a trip to Austin, you need to stay with the Guild. Visit stayguild.com. Use the promo code ChatSports for 15% off your next stay. New concept in luxury hospitality. It's like a luxury Airbnb. Staying at the best residential buildings in Austin. Comes with the virtual concierge service as well. Visit stayguild.com. Use the promo code ChatSports for 15% off your stay at the Guild. All right, let's get into it. Cowboys Falcons this week. Big game again, Tom. Cowboys ranking 8th on offense, 14th on defense. Falcons 6th on offense, 12th on defense. On paper, looks like a very close game.
Then you look at the scoring. Atlanta is 17th in terms of NFL in terms of scoring.
Yep.
That's a big difference. That means A, they're either not finishing in the red zone, and or B, turnover margin's been a big issue. It's one of those, and we'll detail which one in a little bit.
There we go. Let's start with our injury report on the Cowboys side. Dan Bailey is going to be out yet again, but Mike Nugent has been good in his replacement.
He hasn't sucked, and that's what matters.
Chidobe Awuzie probably out again.
Well, you say that. He's been practicing finally.
I'm going to stick with he's probably out.
I think he's going to play.
All right.
I think he's going to play this week.
The big question marks, though, are Dez and Tyron.
That's what concerns me.
Dez did not practice today.
The expectation was, he's going to play or he's going to practice, and then at the portion of practice open for viewing, it ended up being that he was not available. So that he didn't practice. He stretched, but he didn't actually practice.
He stretched.
Which, whatever. Tyron was also held out again. I think of the two least likely to play, it's Smith. And that actually really concerns me.
And so if Tyron Smith doesn't play, what's going to be the plan at left tackle?
Chaz Green is your left tackle. I almost made him a player to watch this week, but I chose not to because I wouldn't be surprised if Smith doesn't practice at all and then ends up suiting up on game day. Same with Dez.
Another little reaction poll here for you guys. Get those reaction buttons going. I'd love to have you as a part of the show with us here. Dez Bryant, wow face. Dan Bailey, angry face. Tyron Smith, sad face. I think it has to be Tyron Smith. I think Dez is going to play.
I might go Dan Bailey. I know that Mike Nugent hasn't been bad, but the Cowboys haven't really needed Mike Nugent yet. This is the type of game on the road against Atlanta, potentially without Smith, that I think you might really miss having Dan Bailey. You're going to feel a lot more confident if you need a 45-yard field goal as time expires with Dan Bailey than Mike Nugent, who I don't really trust.
Tom, who are you right now? All of a sudden you're saying that kickers are people too, and you're worried about Dan Bailey?
Well, only Dan Bailey it matters to me.
Bailey.
He's the only one that I care
Let's
about.
flip it over to the Falcons injury report. Matt Bryant, kicker as well, questionable. Julio Jones, Duke Riley, Desmond Trufant.
I don't think Matt Bryant's going to play. He hasn't practiced yet.
Have they signed anybody?
They signed Mike Meyer to the practice squad, which is the indication that they are at least concerned that Matt Bryant won't play.
Not to be confused with Austin Powers, Mike Myers, right?
Yeah, Mike Meyer. Just one
Meyer.
Yeah, just one Meyer. No S's there. Julio Jones, we're back with the Julio Jones thing. He's banged up again, battling his own ankle injury.
He's going to play.
I think he's going to play. I think Desmond Trufant will play as well. He came with that ankle injury last week. And then Duke Riley dealing with his own knee injury. He is out. So that's a kind of a big-ish loss. He's kind of more of a depth guy, but he's talented at LSU.
Yep. All right, that's the injury report. Let's get into the keys of the game. Tom, let's start out with Julio Jones.
We assume he's going to play.
Yeah.
Therefore, you must limit Julio Jones. And I think what the Cowboys are going to do, Brett, I am now calling this the Tyreek Hill protocol. Man-to-man.
Wait, that's not the, hey, you tackle him.
Yeah, that's the Tyreek Hill failure. The Tyreek Hill protocol, which actually worked pretty well.
They did a good job on Tyreek Hill.
What they did was they put Anthony Brown man-to-man, and they had Jeff Heath more or less shadow them together. Mm-hmm. They kind of used the bracket-type coverage. This week, I think they'll do the same thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's not Anthony Brown. I could see either Jordan Lewis or Orlando Scandrick. Lewis is smaller, but he's more physical to go up against Julio. But now the main concern for me, Brett, is Tyreek Hill's not big. The Cowboys have no guy who can go man-to-man, one-on-one, and cover Julio.
I don't think anybody in the league does.
I mean, Patrick Peterson, I think, can. But I'd love to have him.
Julio Jones, one of the best receivers in the league.
Exactly, and he's big enough that he's going to give the Cowboys major problems. You got to double team him.
I mean, obviously, we're talking about Cowboys keys to the game.
Yeah.
You flip it around, Falcons keys to the game. You got to get Julio Jones going. I don't understand what's going on with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones this year.
Steve Sarkisian is an idiot. That's what's going on. He's not throwing the ball in the red zone.
All right,
that's what's going on.
We'll stick on the Cowboys here. Key number 2: keep running the ball. And if it ain't broke,
don't fix it. And I include that in the event that Zeke does get suspended, you still have to give the ball to Alfred Morris, McFadden, Ross Smith. You cannot abandon the run. We loved having Dak Prescott. We've sung his praises many a time on this show, Brett. But you still don't want Dak throwing it 50 times a game. You want him at 30 at most, because it just makes your offense better, because you got a great ground game.
I think in the end, there's only like 2 quarterbacks
Aaron
in the
Rodgers
league that you want.
Tom Brady.
Maybe Drew Brees.
Maybe, but they like to pound the ball more too.
Yep.
So
they also use use their running backs out of the backfield. Out of the backfield.
Yeah. So
more than the Cowboys do. Anyway, that's key number 2, and key number 3: win the turnover battle. Tom, you are just cheating on these keys.
I mean, yeah. If
you want to win football games, you got to win the turnover battle.
Well, I have not done that at all this year yet. So excuse me. I only did it because I think it's a very notable difference this week. Atlanta is 25th in the NFL. The Cowboys are 10th. That's a big difference there. Atlanta has only 6 takeaways. They're tied for last. They don't turn the ball over, or they don't force turnovers, but they've given it away 10 times.
Well, and the Cowboys have done such a good job of not turning the ball over themselves.
Yes.
There have been a couple here and there.
They're tied for 4th in the NFL.
Very fluky types of turnovers that the Cowboys have had.
Terrence Williams dropping passes. Two of them have been drop passes that ended up being
you've got Zeke with the 1 fumble against the Redskins. You got the Switzer muff punt. The Cowboys in general, they just don't turn the ball over. They do a great job of holding on to the ball. All right. Those are our keys to the game. Let's get into the players to watch. Cowboys, Falcons this week.
Tom, so mad at me.
Tom, who's the player to watch?
Because Chidobe Awuzie is going to play, baby. He has been a full participant in practice. He's going to play. And I think he's going to play a notable role this week. He's not going to start, but he's going to get on the field quite a bit as that dime or nickel corner. He's going to play. Look, we've seen him play like 10 snaps since week 1. Excuse me for being excited about a guy that I like coming out of Colorado, was the Cowboys' second-round pick, and that they need more corners.
Folks, if you're just joining us here on the Cowboys Report, make sure you like the page so that you join us more often.
Yeah.
But a good part of this Cowboys Report is I give Tom a hard time.
Mostly for players to watch, because I always want to go with the lesser players. We've gone over them all.
And/or keys to the game when you cheat, like winning the turnover battle. Oh, whatever.
Look, I'm excited. I think Awuzie is going to play, and I think he's going to play a key role this week.
Look, I'm with you on the Cowboys need to get Chidobe Awuzie on the field. The guy has got to get himself some snaps.
Yeah.
His 2nd-round draft pick. You need him on the field.
He's more upside than Anthony Brown, who I know a lot of the fans like. I enjoy his play as well. I want to see him play over Jeff Heath at safety, too. Of course, I want to see almost anyone play over Jeff Heath right now.
And speaking of players to watch and Jeff Heath.
Again, I think they're going to enact the Tyreek Hill protocol, and that means that Jeff Heath more or less...
Jeff Heath interception!
Yeah, there it is. He did something good. Skander would have picked it off too, by the way.
I was trying to say,
that was just a bad throw. Like, there were 2 guys right there.
Wrong person just trying to force the ball to Kelsey. By the way, hey, we can give Jeff Heath the hard time all you want.
Best kicker on the roster right now.
But Jeff Heath with Alex Smith's first interception of the year.
He did. Look, good play by Jeff Heath. He also had 1 tackle outside of that. He didn't do a whole lot, but that was kind of by design, so I'm going to give him a break there. I think he's going to be shadowing Julio Jones, and I don't like that matchup at all. Because there'll be at least 2 jump balls, and Matt Ryan says, all right, let's just do it. Let's just throw it up to Julio. Yep. And it's going to be a Jeff Heath jump ball against Julio Jones, and guess who's going to win? Julio Jones.
Well, yeah. I mean, Julio Jones is going to win that against just about anybody in the league.
It's very true.
Anyway, one more player to watch here. That's linebacker Anthony Hitchens. Tom, talk to us about Hitchens and his return from injury.
Look, he's been good, not great. And I think that that's a positive thing because he's Anthony Hitchens. He is who he's been for years now. He's not that great in terms of pass coverage. He's good enough against the run. Then you go up against a team like Atlanta. They've got a quality run offense with Devonta Freeman and Tevin Coleman. Now, the Cowboys like to put Sean Lee on their top halfback, which makes sense because he's great in coverage, and they'll pick up 3 yards and then he'll get stopped. But the Falcons have the ability, Brett, to use the 2 halfback look with Tevin Coleman and Devonta Freeman. Sark has not done that enough. So my expectation is what we'll see. I think you'll see Hitchens in man-to-man against some halfbacks every now and then, and he has to hold up. My concern, Brett, is we'll see, a zone look, zone coverage. Devonta Freeman comes out in the curl route, the wheel route, whatever, and Hitchens gets burnt bad. Or the angle route too. That's my concern.
Well, that's our preview for Falcons Cowboys this Sunday. Should be a good one. Mm-hmm. Tom, you guys at home, get those score predictions into the comments right now. Seeing some already coming in. Scott does have a question for you. Quote, shadow Julio Jones? How do you shadow Julio Jones?
You more or less, you're still in, it's a zone look, but if Julio lines up on that side or you have him line up on that side of the ball, you angle your coverage that way to help give help. Think of it kind of more as like in basketball terms, where you're not really doing when you're playing man-to-man, but you help out on a guy. It's help defense.
I think about it as a man cover 2 in a way.
It's not bad.
with your safety help.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, get those score predictions in the comments. We'll get them up on screen here in just a minute. Who are we starting with? Lena. We're starting with Tom.
It's me.
Tom going Cowboys win.
Cowboys
27-24.
Brett, I'm a little confused by the spread this week.
What is it?
The Falcons are favored by 3. And this has been an Atlanta team that hasn't been that great. I know that they're at home and they've been close to having 6 wins already this year. They have a couple close losses. It's not quite full-on curious spread of the week, but it is like, wait a minute, kind of surprised given the way Vegas has loved Dallas all year. Makes me think that maybe this isn't going to be a great week for Dallas.
Interesting.
But I'm still going Cowboys.
So if Vegas is giving Falcons a 3-point spread, I got to say that is the Cowboys lock of the year.
Oh,
right
wow.
There.
Okay.
Cowboys going 33-16. I like the Cowboys in this one. I like the Cowboys big in this one, Tom.
You're sticking with your thing.
Falcons have not been the team that they were last year. And if somebody's not going to score points against the Dallas Cowboys, the Cowboys are going to win big because that offense is going to score points.
I like your 16 points, right about in line with what the Cowboys give up with Sean Lee on the field.
I'm going to act like that was intentional.
It was, Brett.
All right, we'll go to producer Lena as well. She's got Cowboys winning 30-24, so we're all picking the Cowboys.
Maybe that's bad then.
Yeah, I mean, every time we've all picked the Cowboys, I'm not sure the Cowboys have won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we'll get to.
Well, we didn't do it for the Giants because we thought Odell Beckham was going to play. That's right.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to your guys' comments as well. Andrew's starting us off 31-20. Cowboys. We'll roll through them here real quick. What do we got next, Lena? Trevino. Cowboys 35-6. A big route. All right, Mike's got 20.
That is fire Sark after the game route. Okay.
No Sark after dark?
Sark after dark needs to go to the West Coast. He needs to be fired.
Sark needs some after dark to get that offense going or something. Mike's going 27-20. Cowboys. Scott chiming in 30-16. Matt Ryan cannot escape the pass rush. I think I saw another question.
You saw a question score hybrid.
Yeah, question score hybrid. We'll get to that one in just a second. James going 34-17. Cowboys. Lena, let's get to Drew's comment here in just a second as well. Williams got us at 35-21. William checking again this week. Let's go to this question / prediction combo. We'll start with Drew's prediction, 34-17 Cowboys. Drew wants to know what's going on with Rico. We haven't heard much about it lately.
He's more or less been working out along the side of the team. He's still on IR. He's getting closer to being eligible to return. But my expectation is that we do not see Rico Gathers play this year.
Cowboys have stashed him. I mean, it is as simple as that.
Someone on Twitter said it wasn't a stash and was like, how dare you say it's a stash? He has a serious injury. I'm like, it's a concussion. Like, they're serious.
Well, that is a serious injury.
But it's not a 17-week injury. Almost always.
Likely not.
It was a stash.
I think the Cowboys found an opportunity to stash him / make sure he's healthy.
If Jason Witten and James Hanna were injured, I think you would see Rico Gathers return. But right now, with the Cowboys already carrying 4 tight ends, and I know that they like Blake Jarwin as a potential James Hanna replacement down the road as a better blocker type, I think what you'll see is that, look, there's no need for Rico right now. So just keep him stashed.
Keep developing him. Make sure he's healthy.
You don't need to cut somebody to get Rico on the field for 5 plays a game when you're going to throw it to him. That's all that you're going to use him for right now.
All right, a couple more predictions before we sign off. Donald's got 21-17 Cowboys. Raul 35-14 Cowboys. Trey 49-28. Kyle 21-10. my boy John York. Hey, John, 21-17.
It's a closer game.
Cowboys, close game. John, I need to see a bigger spread out of you, man. All right. I am Brett Scott. This is Tom Downey. Thanks for joining us on the Cowboys Report this week. Visit stayguild.com. Use that promo code CHATSPORTS. 15% off your next stay in Austin, Texas. Once again, Ezekiel Elliot court hearing going on right now. Tune in later today right here on this page. We will be live as soon as we get any word whatsoever on that. For Tom, I'm Brett. I'll let you say it, Tom.
You guys stay classy out there.
See ya.